Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back for one more video, and today we will be checking out a anime request or a video request by Mr. Angramainu, the Angry Mango himself. Why Xeno Goku versus Nasuverse isn't even close. This is a video, I guess it was released 5 months ago. It's been a while since I made a video about Fate, to be honest. And yeah, sorry, but I actually ran out of content to do. I was supposed to do Fate Zero, but yeah, even now I haven't watched Fate Zero, even though I've already watched Fate Stay Night, UBW, and the OG one. Still, I am going to check this one out since it's been a while, and I want to learn more about the Nasuverse. I'm still playing Fate Grand Order, to be honest. I'm still logging in every day. The problem is I'm not I haven't made progress with the story. For some reason I am waiting until the story continues. Yeah, let's see how what the future holds for me in terms of the Fate franchise or the Nasuverse franchise. There's going to be a lot more Fate that is going to appear. Hopefully Fate Redline gets adapted as well, because it seemed like a dope anime series, right? I've seen some like pages of Fate Redline and it looks amazing. But for now, yeah, no more intros. We'll just go on ahead with this one and have a discussion later. I want to learn more about this.
Goku, the true symbol of hope, battling the Emperor of the Universe Frieza, the man-made abomination Cell, and evil incarnate Majin Buu, traveling across the universe in search of the Black Star Dragon Balls, and fighting Omega Shenron, the being born from sin. Every series has an end, and this also includes the likes of Dragon Ball, with GT ending in a very wholesome way. With us not really knowing too much about
Love
what
GT,
Goku is
man.
going to do
A lot
after
of people
defeating
hate
Shenron,
GT,
and it's only
but
really
I
up to us
love
to imagine
GT.
it as a viewer. The only real answer we get is within Dragon Ball Heroes, with this Goku seeming to have experienced every Dragon Ball series. This pseudo-composite Goku, although very strong and obviously a lot stronger than the mainline canon Goku from Dragon Ball Super, begs many questions when it comes to the other characters he could potentially beat. Fate, oftentimes considered probably the most complex
Okay.
verse of all time. The verse so strong that it makes even the best feats in Dragon Ball Super look like absolute light work just in comparison. In fact, I actually
Really?
rewrote this video several times just because my line of scaling for Fate kept changing because it's just that ridiculous.
Well,
Xeno
yeah, to be
Goku,
honest, my
although he
own
has experienced
personal
pretty much every piece of
thought
Dragon
about
Ball
the Nasuverse
ever except for the Super
power
anime,
scaling is just
includes
so
all 13 of the Dragon Ball Z
absolute,
movies,
because
as well as
the problem is that Fate, what's great about the Nasuverse is that they actually establish their power scaling. You know, a solid power scaling will always trump other power scalings. Like, for example, what they are showing right now, or they are always mentioning right now, is the instant death anime. That, oh no, he can just instant death any other anime character. But the foundation of their power scaling there is just so out of place. It was very bad, to be honest. Here in Nasuverse, you can definitely tell one character is powerful. An established power scaled or a verse that is properly like properly what do you call this? Properly made will always triumph over other anime series that are not really established that much. Well, that's just my
GT,
opinion.
the movies are mainly important due to the fact that in Return of the Cooler, you show him being able to fight Cooler inside of instant transmission, flying past
It's
universal
been a
size
while since I've
barriers
watched
which are
that one.
infinite using Toei anime
The last
filler,
time I
and
watched
flying
the
from the
cooler
Eden World to
anime
the
was
Pits
when
of
I was a
Hell, which are both infinite.
kid.
In Xenoverse 1, we see some time breaker amped characters like
Yeah, Time
Frieza, Cell, and
Breakers.
Buu destroy entire timeline crystals, which are entire timelines. Demon God Demigra, after absorbing Toki Toki, the divine bird that embodies time, and is responsible for the creation of all
Don't know about
dimensions,
that one.
was capable of completely obliterating the time nest, which holds the entire infinite history. History within the Dragon Ball multiverse is consistently shown to be infinite via many statements from several Toki Toki and Kanton City residents, with it being stated that history isn't linear, and it certainly isn't finite. And we even have Chronoa further backing these statements up, supporting the notion that history is infinite. Even promotional guides verbatim call it the infinite history, with history in this context referring to the timelines of each conceivable possibility.
Well, yeah, I didn't really know about that about Dragon Ball. More or less, what I thought about Dragon Ball was, yeah, it in terms of other anime series, it is one of the strongest verses, to be honest. But if you compare it to, let's say, the Nasuverse, what else? What other anime series does have a proper power scaling verse? I don't really know other anime series that have the same proper power scaling like Nasuverse have. Maybe, yeah, there are no other anime series as far as I can remember. Full Metal, well, the Full Metal, yeah, they have strong characters there, but it does not really go over the board, which is nice. Which is what I want from a series. But yeah, we are talking about the strongest verses here. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have other ideas on which
In Dragon
anime
Ball
series
Heroes,
could
we
be.
literally see Demigro is capable of wiping out the entirety of the aforementioned multiverse. As he stated, all of creation, everything in the world, will become nothing as it once was. The
Yeah,
main
but
point
how
being that
does she do
Toki-Toki-amped
it?
Demigra is fully
That's
capable
the
of
question.
performing these feats in whole and being able to wipe out these infinite sets of timelines in potentially one attack. Imagine if Goku and Beerus clashing in
Yeah,
this at the
how
start of
can she
Super
do
didn't
that?
only threaten Universe 7, but just blew up the entire timeline and conceivably infinite amounts of them. That's how stupid this feat is. And of course, Goku in Xenoverse 1 was capable of holding and nullifying the same energy ball that was going to blow up the infinite history. We even have him, as well as the CAC, defeating Demigra in his second Toki Toki amped form without even utilizing
Don't
Super
know
Saiyan
that Toki
God or
Toki.
Blue. This is literally a base Goku enduring the power to
By the way,
obliterate the multiverse,
what is the
and a Super
quality?
Saiyan 3 Goku defeating
Sorry, the quality
Demigra,
was very
meaning
low.
that at
I'll
a
make it
baseline,
720.
this Goku should immediately scale to a timeline, which are baseline 4D. In Xenoverse 2, during the
Baseline
sit-down battles between the
4D.
CAC and Mira gains enough power to blow himself up alongside every timeline, which is evident due to the fact that Toa, someone who can travel to any timeline that she wants as she pleases, states that she will not be able to
Alright.
escape the energy from the blast. And of course, this is not a full power Mira, as he then absorbs Toa and gains a giant boost in power in the process, which are again defeated by Goku and the CAC. This is without using Dragon Ball Heroes, where Xeno Goku in base form is able to make fodder of a second form Demigra, who scales above the aforementioned
Yeah.
Demigra that could annihilate history. The same Demigra that transcends both time and
What I
space as a
like about
whole,
Goku
although
though
he
is
cannot be
that he
constant,
does not
meaning
give
that
up.
Demigra pretty blatantly is
That's
fifth to
very
sixth
important
dimensional
actually
via the
in
scaling
fights.
or low
You know,
complex
we can
multiversal, which
actually
is
see
already
that
beyond our
in
canon Goku from Super.
basic,
Beats World, the realm that mirrors the
in
entirety
actual
of
real
Dragon Ball
life
Heroes'
situations,
origin,
especially
with
in
Demigra
MMA.
transcending
You
dimensions to
know,
even affect Beats
there
World,
are
meaning
skilled
that
fighters
Demigra
who
should at the very
will
least be
actually
set up to
dominate at the
ninth
first few
dimensional or
moments.
complex multiversal.
But
Full power
it all
Mechikaburo is
depends
also
on the
stated to be
person
able to
himself, how
obliterate
far
Beats
can he
World
go.
in its
And
entirety,
Goku can
emphasizing
go
everything in reference to
further
Goku destroying
beyond,
in the
further
blast. This is
beyond.
also heavily in line with the fact that even fodder characters like Chronoa, the Supreme Guy of Time, literally holds the entire multiverse together, including the real world, and is someone that gets far outscaled by the likes of Xeno Goku. So using the scaling via Beats World, he should at a baseline be ninth dimensional. I know a lot of people are going to try to hop on and say base Super Goku is like outer, but the arguments for getting Canon Goku
No.
to those levels of power are kind of ridiculous, and it could genuinely be a debunked video of its own. The only real way I could see Xeno Goku getting to
Let's
that
be
level
honest,
would be
guys.
via the Toki
Goku
Toki
got
scan
shot
and taking the
by a
all dimensions
pistol.
statement at face value and
He
saying that its
went
enable is
down.
to
Remember
literally
that.
all
Even though it's
dimensions,
space
which
pistol,
in itself wouldn't
he went
matter,
down.
though it's very, very ambiguous, and it should just be taken as a
Still
high-level
human.
interpretation.
Or not
The
human.
second
He's
scan I
still a
want to
Saiyan.
cover very briefly is the Universal Tree Scan, and this is actually a scan that I fell victim to in my earlier videos, which are pretty ass, I can't lie.
I don't know what
Maybe I'll
that is.
remake those videos at some point, but the main thing the scan had to offer was that it was an infinite dimensional tree, or consisting
Infinite
of
dimensional
infinite dimensional
tree.
space, and transcends the concept of space itself. Now, not only was he scanned fake, as I mentioned prior, but it's not even consistent, as let's consider the magnitude of the tree. The universe tree is consistently described as being as big as a galaxy. Its roots stretches across rifts in space-time to connect with the 12 different universes, and this scan is also nowhere to be found on the original
Oh
and
yeah.
official Dragon Ball website, where
I
it was
guess
also
the
claimed to be
spatial
only
magic
visible
here.
in Japan, where it's even nowhere to be found there either. So I thought it'd be pretty important to actually go over that scan, since a lot of my earlier subscribers are probably
All
curious
right.
about it. Fate scaling is typically associated with the introduction of a character named BB. BB
Now
is an
we
AI acted
have
by Sakura, possessing an
Fate.
extraordinary
Okay.
power that enables it to hack into and manipulate reality itself. This ability is achieved by infiltrating and assimilating a structure known as the Moon Cell. The Moon Cell is a highly advanced supercomputer. The primary function of what it actually does, essentially, is catalog anything and everything that has ever occurred or will occur. It has the capability to summon deceased beings and even
Catalog
extract
everything,
entire parallel
anything that
universes
ever
from the
occurred.
vast multiverse. BB acquires these abilities by breaching the ultimate barrier of the Moon Cell, which happens to reside in the 8th dimension. Just as a reference, higher dimensional powers are often considered pretty ridiculous, and this would also apply to Xeno Goku, since he would scale to this level of power, as we went over previously. To understand how
Alright.
higher dimensional objects are infinitely greater, let's consider the analogy of a two-dimensional square and a three-dimensional box. In two-dimensional space, a square is defined
It's
by
just
its
a
length and
plane,
width. It exists on a
length
flat
and
plane
width.
with no depth or thickness. You can visualize it as a flat shape on a piece of paper. The square has 4 sides, 4 corners, and a fixed area. Now let's move on to the three-dimensional box. In addition to length and width, the box has an additional dimension, which is height. This extra dimension allows the box to extend beyond the flat plane and adds depth to the structure. The box has 6 faces, 8 vertex, and 12 edges. It has volume, which means it occupies space in 3 dimensions. The difference between the
I
two
feel like
lies in the number
wait
of
a
dimensions
second.
they possess.
I feel like I saw this explanation not in an anime video, but in one of those TikTok vids that I've watched. I've been seeing a lot of galaxy universe videos in my TikTok recently for some reason, and it's quite different, to be honest. In those videos, it was shown the 1D is a simple plane, 2D width and height, and length is supposed to be in the 3D box.
While the
Well,
square is confined to a two-dimensional
I guess it's fine.
surface, the box would actually
Does
split
not matter
into the
for
third
us
dimension,
anyway.
making it more complex and versatile. The additional dimension provides the box with more possibilities for shape, size, and orientation. Now let's imagine a fourth dimensional object.
Fourth
Just as the box
dimension,
extends beyond the square, a fourth dimensional object
you
would
can see
extend beyond the box into a
uh, from my understanding, fourth dimension is where, let's say we have the 3D box here. It's where you can see, it's like from watching in a mirror. Yeah, I forgot how to explain, but yeah,
fourth spatial
it's more or
dimension.
less
It is difficult for us to
it has a
visualize
mirror
directly.
concept.
This higher dimensional object would possess even more complexity, additional properties, and potential variations that are beyond our three-dimensional perception. The concept of higher dimensional objects being infinitely greater arises from the idea that additional dimensions add new degrees of freedom and possibilities. It expands the potential configurations,
Yeah,
interactions,
like
and properties
what I
of the
said,
object, making it more intricate
it's
and
like
diverse. However,
viewing
comprehending
yourself
these
from
higher
the
dimensions is
mirror's
challenging because
perspective.
our human experience is limited to perceiving and understanding the 3 dimensions of space. Our 3 to 4th dimensional universe being perceived by any higher dimensional beings would simply just view us as nothing more than a mere drawing on paper or just actual
Yeah.
fiction. Later on, BB is ultimately defeated by servants in Fate, including the likes of Saber and Gilgamesh. It's worth noting that Nero, in her red form, known as Saber Nero, isn't exactly as strong as Atoria, but Atoria is summoned to intervene in the conflict between Red Saber and Tamamo.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the last video
And although
that I
Atoria
did
isn't
about
exactly
this.
stronger
Why
than
is
the servants,
Artoria
she
is the
at least shows some
strongest
sort of
servant?
relativity, meaning that yes, she would scale to at least 8th dimensional, which would also apply to Saber as well as Gilgamesh, because both characters scale to each other, with Gilgamesh being the superior one in most continuities. The Moon Cell has the capabilities of completely slicing through the 8th dimensions, with it wielding an 8th dimensional barrier, and its core being stated to be an even higher dimension than this, meaning that we can immediately assume 9th dimensional for the Moon Cell core. Gilgamesh is also shown casually slapping around Altera in Fate Extella, who is stated to have the power to destroy the entire moon cell without the use of regalia. The moon cell, as we went over, can cut through 8 dimensions and has an 8th dimensional shield with a higher dimensional core, or 9D, since it's stated to be higher than 8. In Gilgamesh's side story in Fate Extella, we see him defeat Artoria, who could defeat
Didn't
Altera,
actually know
and was
about
shown
this
overpowering the likes of
dimensions
Dormammu, who
thing
was
in
amped by
Fate.
the regalia. The regalia is said to have the power of the entire moon cell, and the powers of the moon cell is enough to make it seem like it's holding the entire thing. Shiki's scaling mainly revolves around her being the root and the root being Shiki, and you might be wondering why this carries significance. The root represents a metaphysical.
After a moment of blankness, Gray replied with a difficult expression, I heard about it in class. What was it again? The spirit origin? Right. The spiral of origin, or more simply, the root. Sometimes it's referred to as blank. Blank, right? That's how we should name that. The thing for which there can be no reference. It is the source of everything, the zero from which all matter and phenomena flow. But now that I'm trying to put it into words, I'm realizing that's not a good idea. After all, even the idea of zero has baggage that makes it unsuitable as a comparison. I don't completely understand this because, yeah, it is my first time actually reading this, so I'll have to re-understand this later. But you can help me in the comment section anyway. But more or less what I got from this is that, yeah, the root is the origin of all things.
Power that goes beyond any ideas or tangible forms of being. It acts as the beginning and end of everything. It serves as a dwelling for the Akashic records.
So it's like the beginning and the end.
Vortex of radix in English.
Would-
This location acts as the ultimate origin
You know,
of every
that's what
occurrence and phenomenon in the
is great
cosmos.
about
It exists
Nasuverse.
beyond the confines of time
It
and acts as a repository
he
of
actually
information
tries
about all
to
potentialities and
give
occurrences
us reason
affecting the past,
in
present,
everything.
and future of the world.
I know there are still a
It
lot
serves
more
as the birthplace and final destination of all
questions,
souls,
but
including those of the heroic spirits.
it's not like
recorded from
everything can be
souls. It would also surpass
given,
the duality of yin and
especially
yang,
if there's a
and
lot
extends
of
beyond any form of binary existence,
story
as
to
it would
tell.
go beyond the notion of being positioned between a binary system or having any value within
That's
that
Shiki's
system,
ability.
completely transcending the constraints of binary existence as a whole. It surpasses the fundamental idea of Taiji, which encapsulates both transduality and non-duality. The true nature of the root cannot be adequately expressed in words, and any effort to describe it would only diminish its inherent power. This aligns with the philosophical principle known as
That's a lot of text, man. Should I read this all? Maybe I should read this. The root of all things, it was like looking through a record and an archive so vast, yet at the same time there's only emptiness. It doesn't have a name because it can't be defined by a name. It can't be defined by a name. That's nice. The power was so overwhelming, I felt like I was going to drown, but I pressed on. I needed to know more. Yet, even with all of this power, it still can't grant me my wish. Even though it's so powerful, it still won't be able to grant the wish. I guess it still has a limit, but yeah. I won't read this. I won't read all of this, man. Just let me know in the comments. Help me understand about this.
apophatic theology. This concept elucidates the constraints of conventional infinity. It views actual
What is blank? What is blank is antonymic. I don't even know what that term is to infinity. Antonymic, maybe perhaps it is very different from infinity. Or it's like an antonym. The concept of infinity is twinned with the concept of finite existence. It is this finite existence, this end of all things that Ryogi observes with her arcane eyes, and the same end that she cuts to make entropy act quickly. Almost immediately, the prison that she was contained in was made to be infinite, an inconceivable non-Euclidean space, but there is no true infinity. Only ends driven by processes both mechanical and mystical. The only denial of the end that exists is the true nothingness of blank. To this girl, the space was nothing more than a room with its door unbarred and unguarded. It shames Alaya to admit such as such. In the end, for Shiki, it's just like prison, right? The room that she is given. And what I can see here that is that Shiki can observe what we normal humans, normal mobs cannot perceive, and she can even cut it, right? That's great.
Infinity as a comprehensive collection, and this notion is further
So
examined through the analogy of non-Euclidean
can
space,
she even see
which is
our
infinite but
like
possesses limitations.
what connects
In
our
each
lives?
dimension,
Maybe
a
she can
boundary
cut
emerges
that.
from the subsequent dimension, which
I
represents
don't
a
know.
higher level of infinity. For instance, in two
Maybe she can
dimensions,
do
the
even
boundary
more
of
than that.
infinity is infinity raised to the power of infinity. In hyperbolic geometry, this principle applies to all dimensions up to 1a. This principle applies to all dimensions up to 1a+. The mathematical operations applicable to such infinities cannot be extended to the root, which fundamentally surpasses them in magnitude. Shiki, who maintains a connection to the root, can perceive the conclusion of these infinities, perceiving them as mere small rooms. Shiki, using this scale, would at the very least be outerversal. As for speed, the servants have
Outerversal.
the ability to traverse within Solomon's temple, a location that exists outside the realm of space and time. Servants possess a unique quality of being detached from the constraints of time. They have the ability to exist in Claudia, a realm that
Yeah, they
exists
can
outside
exist
the time axis and lacks any notion of
in
time.
past,
Yet
future,
Solomon,
present.
beyond Furi's ability to perceive all potential futures, is unable to grasp this concept. This situation can be likened to the encounters of Achilles and Chiron, who engaged in battle within a realm where time stood still, such as the far side of the moon cell, where concepts like distance and time hold no meaning due to it being above the concepts of space and time and dimensionality as a whole. Hacks are a huge part of this
Nice.
fight, since, as we established pretty early on, three characters in this versus battle are pretty relative actually, and those characters are Xeno Goku, Gilgamesh, and Saber. Shiki is a whole different story with the scaling I provided, and we'll get into her a bit later. One of the abilities possessed by Xeno Goku prevents his opponents from enhancing their power during a fight. Therefore, any power boost or transformations utilized by Saber or Gilgamesh, who are roughly on the same level as Goku, would be nullified and ineffective against him. However, Shiki is an exception due to her significantly greater power. It is
She can
unreasonable to
see
assume that
the
any of
lines.
Xeno Goku's special abilities would have any effect on Shiki, as she surpasses him in terms of dimensional existence, being above the 9th dimension. Xeno
Oh,
Goku
so her dimension alone, so can just simply brute force her way against this guy.
has the ability to nullify and purify power, reduce stamina, and induce status effect on his opponents. The status effect inducement ability disables all of the opponent's powers and abilities by absorbing and depleting their stamina to a minimum level, rendering them ineffective.
Right.
The ability can also spread to others. It's worth noting that in the Dragon Ball universe, characters with ultimate abilities like Xeno Goku have the advantage of rendering their opponent's hacks ineffective if they are.
So Xeno Goku is an actual thing. I thought I was weirded out with the title, to be honest, because it was called Xeno Goku. So Xeno Goku is an actual character or an actual level now. I don't know. Maybe it's from a game, maybe it's from another series, but I didn't know about this, to be honest. The last time I watched Dragon Ball was about Dragon Ball Super Broly, with the latest addition to Broly. I haven't even read the manga.
They are indeed stronger than them. While they are relative in terms of power via the scaling provided, it's a bit hard to say whether he could actually just neg their hacks. Using this would only grant him access to power nullification on a 9th dimensional level, and if Xeno Goku is able to pull off a status effect inducement, it could help him tremendously in battle. The main hacks Goku and Heroes actually has is the Key Sword. The Key Sword is an exclusive weapon reserved for
I don't know what
characters
this
at
is.
the level of Mechikabura or above. Possessing the Key Sword grants characters the passive ability to neutralize any powers that approach him. Furthermore, wielders of the Key Sword exhibit exceptional regenerative capabilities. Despite the presence of Demigra, a being capable of augmenting one's abilities, the regeneration induced by the Key Sword remained unstoppable. Even Demiurge's wish for the power of light to counter the key sword's effects prove futile in impending its regenerative properties.
Mm-hmm.
For Fate, they have a ton of hacks that are worth mentioning, and there's just so many of them that would be useful, but the list
There is just too much hacks for Fate. Not only there are too much hacks, there is too much explanation that it just overwhelms other verses, man. That's just a huge fact that we cannot ignore. Other anime series, you can just claim, oh, he can do this, he can do that, but in the end, it lacks credibility, to be honest.
is generally way too freaking long, so I'll just mention the main ones. These would apply
Yeah,
to
the main
Gilgamesh,
ones.
and by proxy the other two. They possess conceptual manipulation, type 2. Sherlock Holmes, who was stated to be the embodiment of truth seekers and the very concept of a detective, and manifested conceptual heroic spirits. Servants can moreover devour souls as well as interact with Kama, who lacks a physical form and conceptual existence, being a mere void. Fate manipulation. Luck allows servants to grasp fate and the ability to make decisions.
Fate.
So kind of like U-Haul, but not fucking fodder. Invulnerability, servants cannot be harmed by modern weaponry unless they have some form of supernatural aspect to them.
Yeah, such as putting some mana in bullets. Maybe that's it.
Age manipulation, reality warping, and energy manipulation. The Holy Grail can grant wishes and twisted the world by making a singularity. It is a law that decides how magical energies in a dimension is used, capable of supplying magical energy to amplify stats. Spatial manipulation, immortality, and regeneration negation.
Yeah, it's just too much. They even have guts.
Can see the
They won't die yet in just
worlds,
one kill.
can also see through the past, present, and future, as well as being aware of all events and witnessing every phenomenon throughout the planet's texture, which was considered to be the universe. Said being capable of observing all things. Chain manipulation and paralysis inducement. Space-time manipulation. Power nullification without the use of the key sword, like my boy Goku. Law manipulation should be the same as authority, which was the law that governs the world and acts like a conceptual magecraft. And those are just a few to name, meaning that Xeno Goku versus Saber and Gilgamesh probably wouldn't be too pretty for Goku since he gets out hacks in every way imaginable, assuming they are relative in scaling. And as I've been mentioning throughout the video, the main difference being that their hacks are just Goku's hacks with the downsides, and there's two of them. And this is without giving Saber and Gilgamesh the benefit of the doubt.
And you forgot to mention that the credibility, man. There is solid explanations in Fate compared to other anime series. That's just it. But yeah.
Shiki is a whole other story due to the fact that her abilities far exceed the likes of Saber and Gilgamesh, and her abilities work beyond any 9th dimensional hacks. She'd be completely immune to practically anything Goku would throw at her, and her abilities would pretty much just allow her to beat Goku passively. I'm trying to get back into Dragon Ball content since I've been covering other anime for the last few videos, and I was gone for pretty much all of October. I just want to say, y'all are eating in December. I'm cooking up several videos as my Christmas gift to y'all. So if you end up enjoying this video and you're hyped for December uploads, drop a like and subscribe.
Yeah, drop a like and subscribe to Mr. Toaster XD, man. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for your video. This was a request by Mr. Angram Mainu. So I'll put your profile as well here as well. So I guess that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do let me know what I missed out, and maybe perhaps we should relearn more about Fate. We should start from the ground up, I think, since I have a lot to learn about Fate, man. Maybe I'll start with the Kara no Kyokai movies, since I haven't watched those. Maybe that's what I'm missing, to be honest. Or maybe I should start somewhere else. Maybe there are videos where they start from the beginning again. Or maybe I should start from Fate Zero. I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched some Fate stuff. And maybe I should continue with the TVCMs. It's been at least over a year since the last time I checked out the PV of Fate series. So maybe there are a lot more TVCMs now. I'll check them out once again. So that's gonna do it. See you soon. Peace out. God bless.